G'day guys, Aaron here from Shooting Stuff Australia, and I'm joined from Jason from AHP. Hope you're having a good Easter weekend.
Yeah, well, I was going to have a good Easter weekend. I was supposed to go hunting, but that's all banned in New South Wales now. And, as we know, still hundreds and hundreds of people at Bunnings and JB Hi-Fi and all these places, and apparently I can't even go hunting. But I was trying to get a new gun, before the gun shops closed in case they were going to close in New South Wales. So I got a Bagara B14 HMR. The permit came pretty quickly, actually. So I got into the shop and got that just in time. The gun shops are still open now, which is good, but unfortunately I can't go to the range and I can't do any load development at the range. And I can't go hunting. So I don't really know what to do at the moment. It's been a interesting couple of weeks. And I've interviewed a couple of people on the show, episode 215, from the couple of gun shops in Victoria about these gun shop closures. And it's interesting, some things I'm hearing, but we'll talk about that a bit later.
Yeah, well, I was meant to go on a hunting trip as well, out west to a new station that I acquired, and that's all been knocked on the head. We're meant to go for about 2 weeks. I was really looking forward to that. But unfortunately, that's all done, and I'm reduced to tiling my floors in my house. That's about it.
And the numbers are on our recent video. I got a couple of messages saying the numbers on our recent video, just talking about the closures, I think it was, and stuff like that.
Yep.
I mean, you got 4,200 subscribers, and we're well over that in the viewership. That's 100% viewership for subscribers. So that's pretty damn good, man.
Yeah, within a week, it's reached, I think, pretty much on 5,000 views. So I was absolutely stoked, and thank you guys for all the really great comments. It's like 160, 170 comments, I believe, on that video, and all been positive. And it was our longest video as well. It come in about 15 minutes, and people seem to love it. And even the figures on YouTube are saying pretty much a lot of people watched it to the end, which I'm pretty happy about. So yeah, that was really surprising, and I'm really happy. Let's hope other videos do just as well. So we have had the Western Australia weapons licensing deny new gun licenses to people over this period because they've closed their gun shops as well, which is a bit of a shame. There's a letter going around of that, and yeah, it's just not good at all. I don't know why they would do that, because obviously they're planning on opening up within a month or so, so you're going to have a gun license. Why would they just do that?
Yeah, good question. I don't know. I saw it on the internet, and people are being denied licenses now, saying, well, you can't go to the range and you can't hunt, basically, so therefore you don't need a license. But as far as I was aware in the legislation, there's no reasoning or behind saying, well, if there's a pandemic, we're not going to issue gun licenses. So I don't know what's happening, man. It's WA. It's probably the most draconian state in the country for firearms owners. Very difficult to get places to hunt on and stuff like that. You always got difficulty from the police, putting pressure on people. I've done interviews with Shane Aylmore from Ella Valla Range, and he's had a lot of issues with the police in WA just trying to shut him down and how far he can shoot and stuff like that. So, yeah, man, it's pretty sad affairs, the fact that they're just doing whatever they want now. And, like I said in a previous video, a lot of these agencies are just taking advice from the police. Well, we're shutting it down because the police told us this. I mean, it's just unbelievable how much the power the police wield over us firearms owners instead of working with us. They just like to work against us for some reason, which is quite sad. But, they don't do much about criminals, but they love getting on the backs of shooters because we're easy targets.
Oh, yeah, exactly. And the politicians love it as well, because as we know, banning guns and being negative to guns equals guaranteed votes for the majority of voters out there. Exactly. So, which is a real shame, and I don't really understand their reasoning behind this, because are they planning on not opening these shops for longer than what they're saying? That's all I can think of.
Like I said in a previous video, if this hasn't woken people up now about what's going on, I don't know what will. I mean, shutting down hunting, taking advice from police, we're not issuing licenses in WA. I did an interview with 2 Victorian retailers and 1 Queensland retailer. The 2 Victorian interviews are on episode 215, which Aaron will put in the comment section so you can have a listen. But one of the guys we spoke to, man, it's so bad that, mate, he said within 3 to 4 weeks, if he doesn't start making money, he's gonna have to fold bankrupt, basically, and fold up the business, and it's going to be game over for him. So, Yeah, mate, we're in unprecedented times, and they've opened it up to farmers and primary producers as well. But like I said to people, that's totally fine to open it up to farmers and primary producers, but that's not going to keep the gun shops in business. Not against primary producers. I'm not against farmers. I've got a lot of good relationships with farmers, but farmers aren't going to pay the bills. You know, primary producers aren't going to pay the bills. I mean, you know that. You've been talking to the gun shops in Queensland, which you'll probably talk about in a minute, that you've been talking to. I spoke to one in Queensland, but that'll be on episode 217 in about 3 weeks, so to follow up on that one. But what are you hearing, mate, in Queensland? They've opened up a few things, apparently. You might be able to share a bit on that.
It's all a bit of mixed bag of emotions, and nothing's really 100% clear on the finer details of it that people aren't actually thinking about. From my understanding, I've talked to the last couple of days several gun shops, gunsmiths, and just people who are in the industry in general, and it all comes back down to these minor changes. Now that you can get if you got a property letter and on your license, which most people do, I believe, is the RE1 and another code, you are able to go and buy ammunition and guns. As I've been told by people in the industry and the gun shops, a few of them aren't going to actually do this because it doesn't really state how clear it is. How recent does this letter have to be? What does this letter have to say? Who's going to check that letter to make sure people aren't just writing bullshit up, just saying, oh yeah, I got a letter from Joe Blow, here it is, and you go in and buy ammo, and the gun shop goes, oh yeah, okay, that's fair enough. What happens if it's all made up? Does the gun shop have to contact this property owner, or does the letter have to be, before you go pick up your ammo, have to be sent away to weapons licensing or something, and checked, and everything's checked out by them? And do property owners want their properties checked out by the authorities so you can go buy your ammo? It's a lot of grey areas in this, and these shop owners that a gunsmith I know was talking to, who aren't going to follow through with this, because it's so unclear right now. If something is wrong and they come back and say, oh no, you should have done it this or that, or you've done it wrong, they could lose their business, and they could be charged, and that person picking up their gun or ammo could be charged.
Yeah. And in WA, I think it was the businesses, if they're caught trading, it's a $250,000 fine. So there's just a lot of grey areas here, of opening it up to people. And how many people in Queensland have got access to farms in Queensland, to be able to hunt? That's what I'd like to find out. How many farmers are then willing to sign letters for shooters that are coming up onto their property? These things are going to be extremely difficult. And as you said, which we want to find out more information on, are you going to have to send that paperwork to weapons licensing to get some sort of approval before you purchase? I hope that's not the case, because that would just be absolutely terrible. But I know there's a lot of people in Queensland. I've got a lot of friends, and a lot of them don't have their range shooters. They probably a little bit shy, maybe asking for permission on properties and stuff like that, so they don't have anywhere to hunt. So there's going to be a lot of people excluded from this. And, I just think, again, this is just a government is just giving us crumbs. I mean, I don't really see, okay, opening up more business is good, but I mean, like I said, I spoke to people at gun shops, not just in Queensland, but obviously in Victoria. That's not going to pay the bills. I mean, it's just a fact. I know people might say, well, it's open up and it's great, farmers can get access. I totally agree, but that's not going to pay the bills. You've got a lot of target shooters going through a lot of ammunition, things like, maybe shooting pistols, clay targets, things like that. I mean, they're not going to be there. That's the core business for your gun shop owners. So again, I just think the government, we all know they're pissing in our pocket. I've sent 15 letters, dude, right? Over 10 years of doing this podcast, I've sent probably, and I'm not even exaggerating, it's probably way more than this, but at least 1,000 letters in both, probably about 80% in physical form and about 20% in email. And just recently I sent about 15. Most people have seen them because I've posted them on the podcast page in the comments and stuff like that. Mate, they won't even get back to you. The only one they got back to me on was the Brad Towner Armoured Heaven one, and all it did was reflect what was on the website, saying gel blasters are still illegal and they're a Category A air rifle firearm. So I've been a proponent of I started this podcast in 2011, and I've been telling people for years, write letters, get involved. I've just come to the realization, mate, that these people, they just take the piss out of the politicians. They don't care about your letters. They couldn't give one single iota of anything. They couldn't give a shit about our letters, mate. They laugh at our letters. They don't care. And it's so sad that they just disregard law-abiding people in this country. And I've been saying it, and I've changed my stance probably over the last 12 months. Forget writing letters. It's a complete waste of time. I've written well over 1,000 letters, and what have I changed in reading 1,000 letters and writing them? Absolutely nothing. Sweet FA I've achieved. I've got no problem saying that. I'm just one person. At the end of the day, the only thing that's going to make a difference is the organisations taking some form of legal action. Anything less is pissing in our pockets. The government just do whatever they want. Even these changes, Aaron, as you're talking about, that's about 10% of gun shop business. You've been talking to them. They're not going to be able to survive on 10% business. I don't see. Right now. The only thing I would say that's going to be a win, right, is opening everything up back to like it was normal. Yeah. And even then, how do we even see that as a win? Because we haven't gained anything. We've lost 3 weeks of trade. We've lost employees not being paid. I mean, what have we actually won? We've won fucking nothing at all. At all.
Well, there's been 22,000 employees in Queensland, I think I read, that have lost their jobs through gun shops. 22,000 gone. And yes, this is not a win. It's a win when we're all treated equal. That's when it's a win. And as you said, even though what are we winning? We're winning back what we had before, really, to be able to go to a gun shop. It should never have happened in the first place. And I'd like to thank the Dealers Association of Queensland who brought about these changes. So everyone I've talked to in the industry in the last few days have said, without them, this would not have gone through. They've been talking to the government to get these minor changes brought back in, and so it's been fantastic. So they've done a really good job, but I just wish we could have gotten it back for everybody. And I know Jade and the Dealers Association guys have been working tooth and nail to nail this down for as many people as they possibly can. So they did do a really good job for this.
And we saw them, didn't they, in the Northern Territory too? I think they put a bit of a stop, but that was legal action. Yep. I think the organisations and CIFA threatened legal action. So that seemed to be the biggest kicker, I think, in the Northern Territory about the Savage A22R. And listen, I know the Dealers Association probably did the best they could. I'm not having a go at them at all, but like I said, the government, that's the best you're going to get out of the government without legal action.
Exactly.
They're not going to give us anything else. I don't know how the gun shops are going to survive, man. I really don't. If this goes on 3, 4, another 2 months, we're just going to see people losing their homes, things like that. I know some of the banks are putting stops on their loan repayments and stuff like that, which is good. So hopefully we're going to have as minimal trouble as possible. But then, like I said, people are at home that have got to eat and they've got to pay bills, and maybe they're paying rent and stuff like that, electricity rates, and they can't pay any of that. They cannot pay any of that. So, again, government is just pissing in our pockets. The Dealers Association obviously have tried their best in trying to advocate to get this much open. But like I said, it's not a win. It's just basically the government pissing in our pocket to try and keep us happy when, gun shops are still going to go under. We've opened up 5% of trade with primary producers and farmers. Now we're going to open it up to rec people with permission. And we don't even know the rules yet on how people are going to be able to get access to those ammunition and firearms. And I don't blame dealers not wanting to do it, because they make one mistake, they could be up for a couple of $100,000 fine. Yeah,
well, they could lose their business and be charged, which you don't want to do at all. So it's a very, very grey area right now with all this. I hope it can get sorted out, but it's just.
The best thing I think people can do, Aaron, is if they're going to talk, it doesn't matter which organisation you're a part of, it's your small independents, it's your big ones, it doesn't matter at all. I guess the only question you need to ask is when they're going to commence legal action. That's the only question you need to find out. I've done this for 10 years, mate. It's just, the time for games and game playing and Facebook posts and Twitter posts and all this sort of crap, mate, is just finished, because it's just not solving the situation. And we're, 2 weeks into this pandemic, and no one's commenced any type of legal action yet. So I don't know what they're doing. Obviously nothing. At the end of the day, we can all talk. We put posts on the internet. We all do that. Of course, me and Aaron are advocates of this sort of thing, trying to help people. But the reality is, and like I said, I've written thousands and thousands of letters that no one cares about letters. They don't care at all, period.
No, exactly.
So we need legal action sooner rather than later.
Well, we were promised legal action from an association, and then they turned around and said, no, it's all too hard and could take too long, so we're not going to do it anymore. So you
Mhm.
just don't know. You hear one thing that we get these promises from organisations, then they say, no, we're not going to do it. As you know, overseas in South Africa, there is organisations within days, they've filed papers in courts against any of these sort of gun law changes,
Mm.
days. And they've basically just given up now trying to rewrite the gun laws over there.
Yeah, I think the NRA took California to court, New York to
Yeah.
court straight away. So
And I think they're
see,
backing down a little bit over there now
yeah, I
because of
think
that.
this is a bit of a litmus test too, because I think the government knows. I mean, they know we're an easy target. The police know we're an easy target because we don't do anything. We're fragmented. The organisations aren't fighting because they get government grants off the government for ranges and things like that. I mean, why would they do anything? Why bite the hands that feeds you? But I can assume that the government they're laughing at us now because they just think, well, these guys aren't going to do anything. And if we don't do anything now, because this is the worst we've ever seen, probably since 1996 of, shutting gun shops down and doing all this sort of stuff. If we don't do anything now, mate, we're never going to do anything for the future, and the government's just going to ride us from here on in because they'll go, oh, mate, we can shut all their gun shops down, 22,000 people out of work, and what are they doing? Nothing. Their organisations aren't doing anything for the shooters, so
Yeah.
just laughing at us, absolutely laughing at us. And then what do we do? Oh, okay, sure, no
Oh,
problem.
oh, you're the best because you said you're going to do something. You're the best. That's all I hear. You're the best because you said we're going to do something. I'm sorry, this is not a win at all. This is just, as you said, throwing scraps. It's a win when all shooters are put on an equal playing field and we all get our buying rights back.
Yeah.
It's just, no, not, it's a mute point to me, this, because A, the shops aren't going to act on a lot of this because it's all a grey area, and B, it is so hard to get written permission. Even if you got that on your license, trying to get a farmer to write letters and shoot on the property is damn near impossible. You basically have to be a family member or such a good friend with these people. You know how hard it is going to get letters or getting onto properties. You've knocked on doors before and been knocked back dozens of times. We all have.
Yeah. And how far have they got to get these things signed from people? Maybe they can get it via email. Is that going to be accepted? Does that have to be handwritten, hand signature? I mean, people might have to travel 3 or 4 hours to get these signed. What's going to be accepted? I mean, that's too many grey areas, man. And we've been 2 weeks into this, and mate, we're no further advanced. Gun shops are still closed. They've opened it up to 10% of the shooting population, which is just going to be basically, instead of a fast death for gun shops, it'll just be a slow 1,000 cuts death over the next weeks and coming months. And I hope people are ready for bankruptcies and gun shop closures, which is sad. You should be demanding your organisation step up and start spending some of that cash.
Exactly. And they're even claiming, one organisation's claiming that they've got 70% of the restrictions back. That's complete bullshit because the people I talked to, even up to this morning, have said, where's the 70% crap's coming from? It's coming from nowhere. We're not seeing 70% more traffic. I don't know where they pulled this figure out from because it ain't happening. We're not seeing 70% more traffic. So basically we're seeing no more traffic, even after this latest round of crumbs being thrown onto the ground for them.
Yeah, I mean,
So
like I said, Dealers Association tried the best they could. They tried the best they could. They can't do any more than that. Beyond that, as I said, is to start pushing them legally. That's the only option from now on. There's no talk, sending letters. I do that stuff all the time, and it doesn't achieve anything. Maybe they might get a response, and maybe I don't get a response. Maybe they do, but it's the same waffle they send to me, which is, we're trying to do this. Good luck. Sorry, thanks. We've noted it. Chuck it in the bin.
Yeah, well, we talked all about this in our last video, guys. If you want to look at it, we talked more about it in depth about why letter writing doesn't work. And man, the amount of mail I got back after, I thought I'd get a bit of hate mail from guys, but I was really, really surprised how many people said, yeah, we sat down, we took the emotion out of this and actually looked at it, and you're 100% right.
Yeah.
You've got to take the emotion out of everything, the hot-headedness, the emotion, and just look at common sense. And when you do, you realise, and a lot of you guys have said that, you actually did realise, thought about what we said, and realised that we were right.
Yeah.
And I hate saying it. I think it's awful. They should take notice of what we say. But in reality, we're not. And as I said in the video, the older you get, man, you just want to live your life. You don't want to spend your whole time fighting. I know I'm pushing 50. I've got health problems. Everyone's got health problems, and I don't want to be wasting my life just fighting and fighting continuously, and when they know it's thrown in the bin.
That's true, man. I think that's well said, because we just got to take the emotion out of it. Look, doesn't matter who you support, which party, which organisation. Doesn't matter who you support. Just look at the facts. If you have sent letters, you're getting waffle responses, mate. Like I said, I've sent well over 1,000 letters, man. I've sent so many letters that I don't even care to say how many, and all the things that we've said and all the waffle that you get back from these politicians. They just don't care. What's a letter going to do? It's a piece of paper they put in a letterbox for Australia Post and send it, and then get some letter back. And they just look at it and they go, oh, yeah, give them a response, shut them up. And that's as far as it goes. Like I said, we need to start doing legal action. We need to start biting back, and biting back hard. With legal action, not tribunals and these sort of things and stuff like that. Whilst that's better than nothing, we just need. I don't know. I'm not a lawyer. We should have lawyers on retainer from our organisations that fight this sort of stuff tooth and nail, day in and day out, just like they threatened to do with the Savage A22 on the Northern Territory. Great news. Let's keep it going. Yeah, it's going to cost money. If we've got to put $5 extra on our memberships to pay for this, so be it. I think people will be really happy to do that.
Exactly. And as you know, we've talked about this before. I've done a renovation on a guy's house who was a lawyer for the Queensland government, and he used to write these legislations, and he confirmed with me, you can write as many letters as you want. The politicians sure as hell don't see them or getting them. They go to an assistant. They get filed, logged, or dumped. That's basically about it. So the politicians, if there's a lot, may hear it. These guys are complaining about what you've said. Basically, they don't care. And he said the same thing. He said, they don't, half the time they don't know what about these letters that are being written. They just don't know.
And
it goes to a junior assistants.
But I've been doing it for years. I was the biggest proponent of telling people on the podcast to send letters. That's what I was telling people for years and years and years. Then I just started realising this doesn't work at all. Not a single bit. Not a single bit. The only way they're going to listen up is legal action. And you know what? They may not even listen to that. It's all going to depend. But we've got to start the process. When we say these big things, start legal action, legal action, legal action. End of story. Not waffling on with letters. I can do that on the internet. We've spoken about this before. But anyway, we'll finish up, mate. But we've got heaps coming up to talk about on the show. If you like the video, we'd love your thumbs up again. That'd be really good. And share it. And
subscribe to the channel. And
hopefully we just get as many views as we did before. Seems people are loving the content. And we weren't concerned about last video, but we were sort of, people just started taking the emotion out of it and dealing with the information without the emotion. They started realizing, what we're saying is true. And hopefully, I'm just hoping, man, one day that we're going to start some form of hard legal action and start biting back. We're going to start biting back, and we're going to start biting back hard.
Yeah, I 100% agree. At least if you try and you fail, at least you can say you held your head up and we tried. And dude, I would support any organisation. Doesn't matter who it is. If they did a hard line court case, like, right, this is it, we're going all out, balls in, I would praise them for doing that, even if they failed. It'd be fantastic. And you know I would, and other people know. But right now, I'm just seeing inaction from all parties.
We could lose 100% of cases, and I'd be just supportive of anyone that's willing to do that. 100%. Just say, mate, we're going to go in it thinking we're going to lose. That's how we should go into it. Anything more than a loss is technically a win. Just stop the gun being banned or whatever. And people say, well, we need to keep what we have. That's the whole thing, man. We're not keeping what we have. I keep hearing that. We've got to maintain what we have. We're not. Look at it now. Gun shops are closed. Gun ban after gun ban after gun ban over the last couple of years. I mean, open up your eyes. I mean, again, take the emotion out of it. See what it is for what it really is. And this is an attack on gun owners. We need to do something about it, and we're running out of time.
100%. So that's pretty much all we have to say on this one, guys. So please tell us your comments down below, and we'd love to start up a conversation. And once again, I'm getting hundreds of messages from you guys with questions. I'm trying to get through them all, but I know a lot of questions do get buried amongst all my emails, and I can't, sometimes I just miss them. But I do try my best to get back to all of you. And I really do appreciate it, and I love talking to you guys. I absolutely do.
Don't forget to stay safe and all that as well. We want to make sure everyone's okay, and, these things cooped up. Everyone, mental health's a big thing, especially amongst men and stuff like that. So if you need anyone to talk to, mate, I'm not a phone call away. You know, I mean, hit me up on the Facebook page, Instagram message, and we'd love talking to people. And just stay safe. And if you need someone to talk to, mate, we're here anytime.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Never get depressed, guys. There's always a silver lining at the end of things. Just talk to someone. It's always that easy. And there's always people up there that are happy to listen. So thanks a lot for watching, guys, and have a safe Easter weekend. Thank you.